All right, hi everyone. Welcome to today's Zero Integration training session. My name is Jamie Bruin. I'm part of the support team here at SuiteFiles. I will be recording this webinar and uploading it to our SuiteFiles YouTube channel, so anyone can watch a recording of this webinar afterwards if they'd like to. Just a bit of kind of other general information before we get started. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to put them through the Q&A section in the Zoom tool that we're using. If you have any questions or just want any clarification on how anything works that we're going through in the webinar, please feel free to put through questions at any time. We also have our help center that you can use to help with kind of the training and onboarding process, which, if we just go here, the help center URL is suitehelp.suitefiles.com. There's also a link to it in the SuiteFiles site in the menu here. There's actually a section here just for Zero integration, which covers all of the different kind of parts that come with the Zero integration. The Zero Practice Manager integration is kind of the main integration of SuiteFiles. That's where you've got the most kind of functionality that you can use, and you might find it really useful to refer to any of the instructions here as well. All right, cool. So we'll get straight into it. The first thing that you actually want before you start getting into looking at the integration stuff is actually to have our Chrome extension installed. Now, our Chrome extension actually provides quite a bit of extra functionality. So there's kind of the base integration where you have to specifically connect your XPM account to your SuiteFiles site. And that's where you go through the whole process in XPM. We've got the instructions for it in our help center here, setting up the integration. But there's a whole bunch of extra kind of little prompts and things that are really useful and keep things consistent that are only provided by having our Chrome extension installed. So it's kind of like additional integration. So the way to install that Chrome extension is from within your SuiteFiles site. You want to go to the top right, click on your username, and go into the Download Center by clicking on the Download SuiteFiles button. Then you want to click the Download button under where it says Chrome extension. This will take you to the Chrome Web Store, and it will open up our SuiteFiles Chrome extension here, where you will then need to click the Add to Chrome button. You'll need to click Add Extension on this prompt if you wish to add the extension into your browser. And once you've done this, you should see a SuiteFiles icon show up at the top right of the browser, as you can see here. So what we now need to do is actually log into that Chrome extension, which you can do by right-clicking on the SuiteFiles icon. Oh, no, sorry, not right-clicking. You actually just click normally on the SuiteFiles icon, and it will bring up this login page. Now, if you're just logging in as a standard user and you're not using two-factor authentication, you can just log in using your SuiteFiles URL, your Office 365 email address in the username field here, Microsoft.com, and your Office 365 password. Now, if you're using two-factor authentication with your Office 365 account, then what you'll have to do is you can either log in by using an Office app password in the password field, or you can generate a SuiteFiles API token and use it in this field to log in. If you need to do that method of logging in, then you can find the instructions for that on our Help Center, or feel free to contact our support team and we can give you some further instructions on doing that. Once you've entered your login details, you just click the blue login button. Now you need to leave this window until it's finished logging in. If you click out of it, it will actually interrupt that process. So you just want to wait until that's finished logging in. Cool, like so. And once you're logged in, you'll see the email address that you're logged in as and which site you're actually logged into. If you need to log out at any time, you just follow the same process as logging in, except you just click on the icon and then click the log out button. Cool, so now that we've got the Chrome extension installed into the browser and logged in, it means we can start using the additional functionality that comes with that in the Zero integration. So we did actually cover some of that stuff from the integration in terms of populating file and email templates. So assuming everyone was here for that webinar, We won't really go over that in today's training session, but if anyone would like to go through that, please let me know, and I'll go through that towards the end of the webinar. All right, so the first kind of thing that comes with the XPM and SuiteFiles integration is when you go into the Xero Practice Manager, and if you open up a client that you know has a folder in your SuiteFiles site, like this one here, you'll actually see the SuiteFiles link. So this client in the Xero Practice Manager is called 99 Corporation, and I've just had a SuiteFiles link show up because there's also a client folder in my SuiteFiles site. If I go to my clients folder, named 99 Corporation. So it's actually looking to see if there's a client folder with the same name as the client in XPM, and if it finds one with the same name, it will actually provide a link that you can use to open up that client folder in SuiteFiles, as you can see here. Which is really just kind of a really nice thing. It allows you to just quickly get to that client folder, start uploading documents, or start editing documents as you're doing things with that client in XPM. Now, if you have groups, it changes things slightly. So if in the Xero Practice Manager you're using groups, for example, let's say I add this client to the Home Trust group. If I don't have a group folder for Home Trust group in SuiteFiles, then that link will still work the same. It will still look for the client name to be 99 Corporation, as you can see here. But if I actually move that client folder in my SuiteFiles site to be underneath that group folder, so let's just move that folder. Cool. So basically what I've done is I've changed that folder path. So instead of being clients, then the individual client folder, it's now clients, then a group folder, and then the individual client folder here. Now, because in XPM it's looking for that path to be clients, then individual folder, because it's in a group in XPM, it can also look for clients, then a group folder, then an individual folder. So if I actually refresh this page, what we should see is it will now match up to the path clients/home trust group /99 corporation, which I just realized there's an option for. And I have just reinstalled it. So sorry, let me just turn that option on. If you need to access any of the options for the Chrome extension, by the way, you just right click on the SuiteFiles icon and click options. And this one to work with client groups is actually a kind of beta feature that's more in testing. But if you'd like to test it out and try that out, feel free to go into the options and enable it. If you want to turn off any of the prompts that we go through in this training session, then you can do that from this window here as well. Okay, sorry about that. Let's just go back and try that again. So now that I've got that feature enabled, when I go into 99 Corporation, it should be able to pick up that group path and actually use the group folder that's in SuiteFiles. Cool, so there we go. So we can see that now, because it's actually in a group folder in both XPM and in SuiteFiles, it recognizes that and it shows us a link directly to that folder path in our SuiteFiles site, which is the same as this one. But if we just close that and open that up, we'll see that it's the same path, like so. So these links are really, really handy. If you don't see that link, then it's going to be because the clients don't match up. What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, this was named 88 Corporation or 99 Corp. It wouldn't match up to the 99 Corporation folder in SuiteFiles because it's looking for a match in the names. Now, there are a few things that can affect this mapping. There are some things around special characters. So what XPM actually does is they replace ampersands with the word and in SuiteFiles. So let me just show you a different client, like Abba and Cadabra here. So ampersands are treated differently. And as you can see, what it's actually looking for is, while the name in XPM contains an ampersand, it's looking for the client folder name in SuiteFiles to actually contain the word and in place of the ampersand. Now that's not done automatically. It's not changed or renamed automatically. If you have an ampersand in the client folder name in SuiteFiles, you'll need to actually rename that to the word and. All other special characters apart from parentheses and commas are replaced with an underscore. So if you have apostrophes or speech marks or slashes, any of those special characters, they all need to be replaced with an underscore to be able to match up to the folder in SuiteFiles. Hopefully that makes sense, but we can go through that in a bit more detail further on in the webinar if anyone would like to kind of recap over that stuff. Cool, so that was the client's link there. Now, if you're actually creating a new client in XPM, which we'll just do now, that Chrome extension provides us a really handy folder creation prompt. We'll just have a look at this now. So let's say I was actually going to create a client in XPM, and there was already, whoops, Home Trust Group maybe. Let's say there was already a folder in our SuiteFiles site that had the same name. The Chrome extension will actually recognize this, and it will actually tell us next to the name field that there's already a client folder in SuiteFiles for that client we're creating. It doesn't mean you can't create that client in XPM. It's just informing you that there's already a folder for that client so that you don't create a duplicate client folder. Now let's create a unique client here. Let's call this do that. Now when you click the save button to create a new client in the Zero Practice Manager, after a couple of seconds you'll get this little prompt show up like so. And what this is doing is it's basically just recognizing the fact that a new client has been created, and it's asking us if we'd like to have a folder for that client created in our SuiteFiles site. So what we can do is we can also select a folder template using the drop-down list here. So I can select, say, our new client company folders template, and I can choose if I want to create that folder in SuiteFiles or not. So if I want to create it, I click create. If I don't want to actually create a folder, I click cancel. I'm going to go ahead and click create. Now, whenever you create a folder through that prompt, you get a little notification at the bottom of your browser that will tell you that that client has been created in SuiteFiles. So if we actually go into our SuiteFiles site, or we can use the link that's already shown up, we'll see that this client folder has been created in our SuiteFiles site, and it's also actually had that folder template used to create the new folder structure. So it's really useful. It's one of those things where it's a shortcut, but one of the other kind of really good and efficient things about using this this folder prompt is it will create the right client name. So if you're kind of going and manually typing in the name, it's possible that there could be typos or some special characters that don't match up. So letting the Chrome extension prompt actually create that client name for you means it's always going to be the correct name to match up. It's going to keep things consistent. So that's creating a new client in XPM. Now, if you actually wanted to go ahead and rename the client, so let's say we wanted to change this to Diamond Accounting instead, we could go to Options and Edit. If we rename the client, it's no longer going to match up to the folder in SuiteFiles because, of course, it's matching based off the name. So this would actually stop the clients from mapping together. However, our Chrome extension will recognize that, as you can see, and it will actually ask us if we'd like to have that folder renamed to the new name that we just gave that client in XPM. And again, it's one of those things where it's a kind of a little bit of a shortcut, but the main thing about it is it keeps things consistent, and that's really important because you don't want to end up having a whole bunch of clients that aren't quite the same name. You want to keep things consistent. Cool, and we can see that new link to the new name and SuiteFiles is there as well. And just to show that that has actually renamed the client folder in SuiteFiles, we can see it here. Cool, so that's renaming. If you archive a client in XPM, it does the exact same kind of thing as renaming. If you click archive, you archive the client in XPM, you get a prompt from that Chrome extension that would ask you if you'd like to also have the client folder for that particular client archived in your SuiteFiles site. And again, it's one of those things that keeps things consistent. Same as if you unarchive it or restore it in XPM, you'll also get a prompt asking if you'd like to have that folder unarchived in your SuiteFiles site. So there's quite a lot of these little kind of prompts, as you can tell, and they're just really useful, but they keep things really consistent, and I'd highly recommend that you create new folders. If you happen to be editing or creating a new client in XPM, I would recommend you make use of those prompts because they really do keep things consistent and kind of mean you don't have to worry about any kind of differences in the client name. So that's archiving, renaming. The other thing you can do is you can get those same kind of prompts for creating new jobs or new quotes in XPM. So for creating new jobs and quotes, it's actually the exact same prompt. So I'll just go through one of them. But let's say I was creating a new job folder for my client here, Diamond Accounting. Let's call this a sweet job. And we go ahead and actually click save to create that new job. We get this prompt here, and this prompt's just asking us if we'd like to have a folder for that specific job in XPM to be created under a job subfolder under the client folder in our SuiteFiles site. And again, we can choose a folder template for this new folder. So if you had a job folder template, otherwise you can just leave it as it is and click create just to create the one folder. So if I now go into my site, just reload that folder, we can see a job subfolder has been created. And that specific job folder for that job I just created in XPM has been created in SuiteFiles. And yeah, it's the same process if you're creating a new quote. We'll have a look at printing reports, and we'll also have a look at how you can export work papers into SuiteFiles. But if anyone has any questions about any of those prompts in terms of creating new clients, how the client names match together, any of those prompts that come from the Chrome extension, please feel free to put those questions through now. That's kind of it for those prompts, and we'll be having a look at a few kind of slightly different things now. So please feel free to put through any questions if you have them. Okay, cool. So moving on then, we'll have a look at work papers. So in Xero work papers, what you can actually do is you can export work paper packs into your SuiteFiles site. Now the way to do this is to actually go into Xero work papers, of course, open up a work papers pack, and this does require having the Chrome extension installed. The Chrome extension provides this functionality, so you need to make sure you have the Chrome extension installed and logged in before you try doing this. Now we're in a work paper pack here, we've got our work papers, and we can now click on the export work papers button here. It gives us a few options, and as you can notice here, we've got two options for exporting these work papers into SuiteFiles. Now the first option is to export a PDF to SuiteFiles, and if you choose this option, what it actually does is it creates one big PDF file that contains all of these work papers all together in one PDF file. If we choose export as a zip file to SuiteFiles, what it will actually do is export a zip file that contains a separate PDF file for each of these work papers. So I'll go through both of them to show you the difference. But if we first of all export as a zip file to SuiteFiles, we get this little location chooser window. And what we can do here is just navigate through our file system in SuiteFiles. If we'd like to use a folder filter for the client folders, for example, we can use the filter text field at the top and type the beginning of the name of our client folder. I can now select my Diamond Accounting folder, and I want to put this under 2018. And once I've selected the right folder that I want to actually export these work papers to, I just click the Select Folder button. You'll see the little loading button in the bottom right, just to indicate that the Chrome extension is doing something. And then we'll also receive a notification to tell us when that work paper has successfully exported into SuiteFiles, as we can see here. Now, if we take a look in SuiteFiles, let's go 2018. So we can see we've got a zip file here, and we can actually see that we've got some work papers here, and they're all separate documents. Now, if I go into Zero Work Papers and I go to Export Work Papers, and I select the Export PDF option now, instead of a zip file, I'm going to go ahead and just choose the same path. So clients, I'm going to use the folder filter to type in the beginning of the name of the subfolder I'm looking for, select that folder. I'm going to select the 2018 folder because that's where I want to save the file to. And this is where I want to save the file to. We'll export that work paper pack to. So I now just click the select folder button. Again, we'll get a little notification at the bottom letting us know that that's actually been uploaded into SuiteFiles. I'm just going to jump the gun a little bit here. Cool. And I can now see that I've got one PDF file, which is actually going to have all of those work papers in it. So that's really the difference between those two options. If you want all of those work papers in one big PDF file, use the export PDF option. If you want all of those work papers as separate files, then use the export zip option. So that's really that for the work papers side of things. We'll have a look at the reports now. So if we go back into XPM here, I'm going to go into the reports section, all reports, and I'm going to go into our job report. I'm going to go ahead and print this job report. What happens when I do this is there's an option at the left-hand side that we can see here that allows us to export this as a PDF to SuiteFiles. Now, this button won't be available through every kind of report or tax return or anything like that in Xero. It's more for green Xero or XPM Xero reports. But we'll also go through another option if you don't have this button available. But if you do have this button available, you get the location chooser window, which is just the same as for work papers. You can just navigate through your site here. And once you're happy with the folder you've chosen, you just click Select Folder, and that will upload that PDF into that folder in your SuiteFiles site. And if we refresh that, we can see we've got that job report now in our Diamond Accounting 2018 folder in our SuiteFiles site. Now, let's say you don't have that option available. I can't think off the top of my head a way to purposely make that happen, but let's just say we don't have that option. We're in some other part of Xero, and we can't, there's no export to SuiteFiles button. What you can do instead is you can actually export it just as a PDF. And then if you open up that PDF in the browser, like you're going to print it like this, you can do it by, you can actually do it from here even. You can just click on the print button. Anywhere basically where you can print a PDF, what you can do is you can actually change your printer to be SuiteFiles. So this option here for Suite Print, that has the SuiteFiles icon, we can select this and say that that's the printer we want to use. And if we actually click the print button, instead of sending it to an actual printer, it's going to give us this location chooser where we can go ahead and select the folder to save to in our SuiteFiles site. So this is a really cool way to save files. It was originally a workaround where the pages in XPM kept changing, but it's actually kind of a really useful universal method of saving PDFs. So if we go ahead and select a folder, I'm going to go ahead and use the filter here. The only difference about when you're using SuiteFiles as a printer is you actually need to type in what name you want that file to have. So I'm going to call this job report 2018, and then just click the save file button. and that will upload that file into SuiteFiles. So it's pretty neat, really useful. Obviously, there are still other ways to save things into SuiteFiles. So if you don't have a specific option or function to save to SuiteFiles, you can always download it as a PDF, and then you can simply drag and drop it into the browser to upload it into that folder in SuiteFiles. Or you could open it up and then do a save as into SuiteDrive. There's a number of ways to do it. They're all pretty efficient. I can't really think if there's any that's actually faster than the other, but certainly using SuiteFiles as a printer is a pretty cool option to have. That actually sums up the Xero Practice Manager and Xero integration with SuiteFiles. If anyone would like me to go back over any of that or has any questions, if anyone would like me to go back over how the client mapping works, how client names match up, or go through how you can populate file or email templates with a client from XPM, please feel free to let me know now, because I'm more than happy to go back through that stuff. And just a reminder, there will be a recording of this webinar uploaded to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is just SuiteFiles, and all of the other recorded webinars will also be uploaded to that channel. About pre-populating. Okay, cool. So someone wants me to go back through pre-populating templates. So I'll go through that now. So if anyone would like to stick around for that, please feel free to. Otherwise, thanks for attending the webinar today. Okay, so in terms of pre-populating, okay, so you want to do this in emails. You feel limited by the options available. Okay, could you just clarify on what you mean by the options available? I'm assuming you're talking about the merge fields, no ABN field. There should be a way to do that. So the other thing you can do with merge fields is you can actually use custom fields. Unless you're talking about the fact that the ABN field has some masked characters. Let me have a look. Sorry, I'm based in New Zealand, so we don't have the ABN code, but there should be the equivalent merge field for it. Just have a quick look. So if you not sure if it's going to help with the ABN field, because I think that should be like a default field. But if you happen to have custom fields that you've added to clients in XPM, you can actually add those custom fields to use as merge fields as well. Yeah, all you have to do is just format them in square braces and just type in custom colon, and then just type in the name of that custom field in XPM. So let's say we created a custom field called, I don't know, I have no idea what's a custom field. Kind of hit a blank. Let's just say it's some kind of number. We'll just type in number. So let's say the name of my custom field in XPM was number. I could use a merge field here where I just include custom and the name of my custom field, which in this case would be number, and it would actually pull through that information from XPM for that client and fill it in place of this merge field. In terms of the ABN field, we just have a quick look. Fields. If you type in, if you use a merge field of, instead of this, assuming the field in XPM is named ABN, you should be able to just use this merge field. and that would fill in that information. So if you'd like to try that out, and let me know how that goes. If you don't have any luck with that, I probably couldn't tell you exactly what might not be working or how to use that field over the webinar here. But if we, for the manager, would this work with things like the manager? There is a merge field for the account manager. Assuming that's what you're asking, it might actually be better to do and relationships in XPM. So if there's no merge field in that list, and it's not a custom field, it's not a merge field that can be used. I honestly can't think of all the fields off the top of my head, but if it's in this list in our help center, it can be used. If it's a custom field, it can be used. If it's anything like trying to get amounts or something out of tax returns, those kind of things there aren't merge fields for, and that's just because it's not a merge field provided for us to be able to use. But if you have specific merge fields that you're after and would like to use, then it would be best if you could actually send an email to support. You can contact support@suitefiles.com, and if you can just let me know a bit more information about what you're wanting, what merge fields you're after, I'll be able to provide you a bit more information on that, and we can maybe set up a support session to actually have a look at that in your setup. All right, if there is anything else anyone would like me to go through or any other questions, please feel free to let me know. Cool. All right, awesome. Thanks for your attendance, everyone. And as I said, there will be recordings of these webinars. If you have any questions, come across any issues, or want any help with anything, please feel free to send an email to support@suitefiles.com. We can get in touch and help you out with anything. All right, thanks heaps, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoons. Thanks. Yeah.